My name is Greg, and I'm here with my colleague Peter Headland today for this third webinar in a series that we're running on how to unlock growth to fulfill your nation's potential. All of the previous webinars that we've been doing in this series are also available on YouTube on our channel there. I will now hand you over to Peter Headland, our International CEO.
Thank you very much, Greg. Welcome everyone to this webinar in which we'll discuss enhancing government efficiency, a topic of great importance and relevance in these unrestful pandemic times. Thank you everyone for taking time out of your busy schedules. I do indeed hope you're staying safe wherever in the world you are listening in on this. Before we get into the actual webinar, I'd like to quickly introduce Ordnance Survey for those of you that might not know us. We are the National Mapping Agency of Great Britain, and we're also one of the first national mapping agencies in the world. But these days we're also a global solutions business that is wholly owned by the British government. Although we're still famous for our paper maps, Ordnance Survey has today grown into a provider of geospatial and land administration solutions and services for our customers, which are governments, corporations, as well as citizens in Great Britain, but also governments and countries around the world. We very often work on a government-to-government level with various fellow countries in the world, helping them unlock the true benefits of leveraging geospatial and land administration data as such. We empower nations with world-leading local expertise and technology as such. Focus areas for us is driving adoption and growth through leveraging technologies when it comes to making critical decisions, driving efficiency, solving complex challenges with the help of geospatial data and also fit-for-purpose solutions as such, something we will talk more about today. These are the specific subtopics I'm looking to touch on in today's webinar, named Enhancing Government Efficiencies. We will look at examples from around the world where location data increases, saving lives as well as time and decreasing fuel. It links national registers across government departments. It breaks down silos and many other things as such. We will also cover these subtopics through a case study around Great Britain's new Public Sector Geospatial Agreement. We call it PSGA, that Ordnance Survey has together with the British government. Each of these topics is, I'm sure you understand, very deep in themselves, and we could have several webinars around each and every one of them. What is, however, important to me to highlight, though, is that it's based on our own experience in Ordnance Survey. These things we are covering are all really critical components when it comes to socioeconomic development for various countries and how they can help you unlock the potential for growth by using geospatial information. I do have a lot of content and many, I believe, really good examples in today's session. So I will go through these at speed. I do, however, hope that by sharing successful and highly relevant studies around the world, key stakeholders such as your governments can see the real value in these areas we'll speak about today in today's session, and that they also welcome a further dialogue to learn more about how location data can transform their nations, your nations as such. New decade and new challenges. As we move further into the 2020s, governments around the world face new challenges. It's everything from population growth, urbanization, climate change, as well as, of course, pandemics, which we're all impacted by as we speak. Geospatial information is a crucial tool to help nations navigate many of these challenges more effectively, providing insights and information to underpin effective policy and economic decisions. Government spending on geospatial information is truly a high impact investment in a nation's long-term economic health. As per a really interesting study that we've come over, supports this. It shows that the nation benefits 3.2 times larger than the costs that they run for geospatial information as such. So something to keep in mind as we go through this. First, what do we mean with geospatial information as such? Well, it's also referred to as geospatial data or location data. It's information about place and time. Geographers and cartographers have worked with geospatial information for centuries, plotting maps and charts to represent the world around us. Only us in Ordnance Survey, we've done it for 229 years and we continue doing it. In the 21st century, digital geospatial information is generated constantly from locations derived from our mobile connections, mobile gadgets, to remote sensing of Earth's surface from space, to global navigation satellite systems, also named GNSS, such as GPS, for example. You can see when a piece of data was collected and therefore also make a judgment on the importance of it to whatever decision you are making in the end. Geospatial information serves a really important role in linking different data sets that would be otherwise unconnected through their shared location and place, enhancing and linking other data-driven initiatives. Geospatial information is a critical enabler for nations seeking to grow your economies, drive sustainable development, support evidence-based decision-making and policy setting, and enable the development of new and innovative uses of government data to solve problems and to provide new services. As mentioned, investments in geospatial data drives economic growth and social benefits for citizens and delivers positive change across regions, across sectors, and across applications themselves. From making the basic functions and services of government more efficient, to building national resilience, and also enabling the uptake of emerging technologies. Geospatial information helps us to tackle the biggest problems of our time and capitalize on the greatest opportunities by making it possible to monitor, to measure, to predict, and also adapt effectively to deliver positive effects on, as you can see, sustainability, society, and economy. Geospatial information is vital for the understanding and monitoring of assessments of a wide range of applications. It can help nations secure long-term food and water security while increasing productivity and resource availability. It can predict and mitigate the effects of climate change, rebuild after disasters, generate billions in return from the establishment of secure land rights, and unlock the benefits of technologies like 5G, autonomous vehicles, and smart cities. UN figures state that today, 54% of the world's population lives in urban areas, a proportion that is expected to increase to 66% by 2050, putting pressure on town planners, existing infrastructure, and utilities. Geospatial data can help by better planning and improvement transport links, as an example of many. High quality geospatial information also underpins the supply chain of many industries across a wide range of sectors, including banking, mobility, telecommunication, utilities, insurance, real estate, manufacturing, and the very important agriculture sector as well, of course. Here are two quotes that is true to what we are working towards achieving in the geospatial industry. Hewlett Packard's former chairwoman said, "The goal is to turn data into information and information into insight," followed by Dan Paul, who's a fellow industry colleague in Australia for their national mapping agency, who's added, "and insight into actions and then value." We know that geospatial data supports the digital economy. So geospatial data enables us to make sense of the vast amounts of separate and disconnected chaotic data and information available in the world and turn it into actionable value. Geospatial information systems technology and geospatial analytics has the capability to increase the speed, accuracy, and cost effectiveness of a wide range of government activities. As a result, governments that effectively utilize geospatial information not only improve the services delivered to the public, but also deliver them at lower cost. It is estimated that public sector productivity cost savings derived by using geospatial information in Ireland, as an example, ranges from 0.2 to 0.5%, and 0.2% being the annual saving of approximately 82 million euros in this case. According to a report from Consultingware, the value of local government output in England and Wales increased by over 230 million pounds, which is approximately 295 million US dollars per annum in 2008 and 2009 as a result of geospatial information productivity gains. Saving lives, a really important topic as such. Studies have shown that effective use of geospatial data can help improve emergency services response time by simply identifying the closest available vehicle to the incident and then detecting the fastest route to the incident. And in the cases of ambulances, the fastest route to the nearest suitable facility able to take care of the patient. Through accurate geospatial data, we ensure that the ambulance doesn't only get to the correct road, but to the actual correct house, hopefully in time. One study from Singapore in 2010 showed how a simple, relatively low-cost ambulance deployment strategy was associated with significantly reduced response times for out-of-hospital cardiac arrests. Response times decreased from a monthly median of 10.1 minutes at the beginning to 7.1 minutes at the end of the case study, a saving of 30%, plus the number of cases with responses times reduced from 20% to 47% for responses within 8 minutes. As we know, you can never put a price on a life saved. That's another reason why geospatial information becomes truly vital to us. Here in the UK, Northwest Fire Control, NWFC, has been handling all 999 or 999 emergency calls for Cheshire, Cumbria, Great Manchester and Lancashire fire services. Incidents can happen anywhere from highly populated urban areas to remote moorland across an area of more than 5,000 square miles, which is equivalent of the homes of over 5.5 million people. Though the use of addressing data and system integration to create one single view from the control room, the geospatial information system, to telephone systems and out in-cab navigation systems. It ensures that the closest available resources are deployed to incidents regardless of the station location. Significant time, staffing and resources savings are made by sending the nearest available and most appropriate resource to each incident. The new approach also promotes, of course, interagency, working with partners, making efficiencies even greater on back of that. A significant portion of these public sector's savings derives from time and fuel. Effectively using geospatial information can help services run far more efficiently. Geospatial information is also used to improve waste collection routes through route optimization, as one simple example. The time benefits associated with geospatial information utilization is estimated to circa $17.3 billion, of course, varying widely by individual country. The increased efficiency leads to fuel savings derived from the use of accurate and precise navigation systems and so on. Such global public sector fuel saving have been estimated to around 4.9 billion, almost $5 billion, a significant number, as we all can realize. But then, to add to it, when you combine fuel savings with the race for net zero emissions, with all of the secondary benefits on top of that linked to them, for example, improving air quality, which then in turn reduces the burden of the healthcare system, it really makes effective use of geospatial compelling for governments around the world as such. I'm going to have a closer look on a case study in Shanghai around improving resource availability. Geospatial information are proven to improve local citizen services. So in Shanghai, as this example shows, the municipal government worked with water authorities to use geospatial information systems to increase the efficiency of identifying and resolving network issues such as leakage. This is the same issue with a number of utility companies in Great Britain as well, and many other places globally. Clean water is a precious resource, and this is a very important area where geospatial information can be leveraged within. In Shanghai, specifically, these efforts led to less infrastructural damage, which in itself is a big cost savior to both public sector as well as private sector. Considering roads, they don't need to be dug up, etc., and more continuous resources are being available for citizens as such. A very important aspect with geospatial information collected and processed by, for an example, a national mapping agency like Ordnance Survey, is that we are able to link national registered that hold, for example, land ownership, company registrations, addresses, and so on, back to the government. Furthermore, any changes only have to be reported once with automatic real-time updates. I'm now going to show how by linking different information together, better evidence-based policy outcomes can be achieved for citizens as such. One very tangible example from here in UK is our Tell Us Once service. Introduced by the Department for Work and Pensions, allows next of kin to register a death once only, with all relevant departments and agencies then being automatically informed, enabling databases such as pensions and benefits, taxation, passports, driving licenses, everything like that, to be updated promptly and simultaneously. DWP, which is the name of Department for Work and Pension, have estimated that $400 million in saving predicted over the coming 10 years. And then a further $100 million saving for families over the next 10 years, resulting from the money saved on the small everyday things such as fuel, parking charges, and so on. Not to mention the very important emotional strain from a relative who has previously passed is now over. You actually only tell it once, so no longer carrying the same emotional repeated burden. Truly a really good example in working really well in the UK. Another example on consolidating services is the following from New York. New York City has introduced a GIS-enabled service called NYC 311, which serves as a one-stop service for municipal issues. To create this department, the city consolidated call centers from 14 different agencies and began online and mobile reporting services. Residents can access NYC 311 via phone, via web, text messages, social media, and mobile to submit service requests or obtain community information. The popularity of the app has grown and allows citizens to submit requests or complaints by tagging the GPS location, any additional information, and a photo. NYC 311 now receives over 60,000 calls daily and 13,000 application downloads per month. Benefits of the centralized services include increased convenience, so citizens only need to know one phone number or a website to receive help from all city agencies. Furthermore, greater efficiency. NYC 311 has set rules for routing calls, which helps ensure that they go to the right agency. One-stop reporting also eliminates the time-consuming step of having one agency to contact another agency if it receives a request outside you. And finally, better performance management, because all services requests are tracked centrally and top management requires frequent progress reports as such. However, governments can further make efficiency savings in the purchasing and funding of data itself. Multi-year national mapping purchasing agreements with central governments provide a single view of authoritative data from a trusted source to organizations across the public, negotiated by the National Mapping Agency with the central government department responsible for geospatial, or directly, like in the UK, through the Cabinet Office. For the National Mapping Agency, it means that we're securing long-term revenue for the organization during the length of the engagement. It has an engaged user community helping to better shape product development. And it also positions the National Mapping Agency at the center of the government and becomes part of critical national infrastructure. For the counterpart, the government, it means break down silos between government departments by using and sharing the same authoritative data. It links multiple national registers, benefits from economies of scale across departments, saving costs, making efficiencies from centralized purchasing, and clear set of benchmarks and performance management goals as such. We've done the Public Sector Geospatial Agreement, also called PSGA, in the UK, and we can absolutely help other countries in those terms as well. What we have actually achieved is location data agreement that brings 10 years of economic value to the UK economy. In April 2020, the UK government, through its Geospatial Commission, signed a 10-year agreement with Ordnance Survey that delivers location data and expertise to over 5,000 public sector organizations and supports a growing community of private sector customers. The Public Sector Geospatial Agreement, or PSGA, ensures geospatial support for critical infrastructure and services, from the blue lights to street lights. 3 elements form the basis of this agreement: new data, new access, and new sharing, which they ensure a deeper and richer knowledge of Great Britain's built and natural environment. Secondly, making it easier for customers to choose and access data whilst lowering the cost at the same time. And thirdly, giving third parties greater freedom to share information and to link data sets. But how do you successfully enable government efficiencies in your country? We put some suggested clear steps to start your journey on achieving this ambition. First of all, be clear about your overall objective. What do you want to achieve? What outcomes? When do you need it to be achieved by? Consider if your government is already using geospatial data now in any of the ways we've described throughout the webinar so far. Even if they are, can more socioeconomic value be derived from using more of these approaches, for example? Furthermore, if you're a national mapping or land agency in your organization and is spatial data central to your government's policy development and delivery? If not, then consider identifying a key political champion or champions to raise awareness of the critical value this can provide to your country. And then also a suggestion, establish a plan to engage key government stakeholders across the government and present a robust socio-economic plan for national success. As part of reviewing your current situation, also consider if financing is required to invest in better spatial data to achieve the success we have outlined. Once you've established a strong case for socioeconomic success and identified the investment required, then governments should not hesitate in moving forward in funding the spatial data and infrastructure required. Ordnance Survey, we can of course assist with any of these steps. And again, please do contact us if you would like to pursue this ambition for your country. But how do you now take your initial insights of yours to the next step? A Geospatial Maturity Assessment, or GMA as we call it, could help you to assess your current situation in an easy to use framework and then act as a roadmap to the vision you're striving towards. Governments should definitely consider what we call geospatial maturity assessments. Could be from an established mapping agency like Ordnance Survey, for example. We do these very often. By doing it, this will help to identify how to upgrade your digital geospatial ecosystem in a way that maximizes societal benefits and economic growth. Ordnance Survey offers these assessments to all governments wherever they are on their geospatial journey as such. Doesn't matter if it's a developing nation or a developed nation. We do take into account a range of important aspects related to geospatial information, such as collecting and managing that data, the data quality and data governance, the product and services development on back of it, corporate governance and stakeholder engagement critical, supply chain and also operations management, and what technology is being used in geospatial. Definitely something for each and every one of the nations on today's webinar to look further into. And again, please feel free to reach out to me to find out more how we do it. Something worth highlighting is Ordnance Survey's experience as such. So why do governments come to Ordnance Survey? Well, your business is our business. We are a national mapping agency providing services just like many of the national mapping agencies attending today's webinar. We are a UK government organization, which means we are trustworthy and we are very stable. We're not going to go anywhere as such, and we don't focus on those quarterly profits as maybe private publicly listed companies they tend to do. What we offer, we already do for Great Britain as a country, and we do it very, very well. We're proud of that. We are convinced that we have lessons that we can learn from each other out in this world. As an example, previously mentioned PSGA agreement. We do that in Great Britain, and we can help other countries doing the same thing for them, for the benefit of your country, and for you as a national mapping agency to become in the center of the government, as well as providing services to citizens and companies in your country. We create and we maintain one of the largest, most accurate and trusted geospatial data sets in the world, and we could do that for you as well. These trusted data sets underpin innovations such as artificial intelligence, such as machine learning, all for the much greater outputs to nations as such. We work with accredited and trusted partners, global as well as local, delivering assurance to the countries. Working in local partnerships are really important to us, supporting localization, policies, and knowledge transfer. We're also very proud members of OGC standards work. We are a strategic partner of OGC, and everything we do here subscribes to OGC's open standards. We're also heavily engaged in UNGGIM and IGIF. Our approach ensures you will fulfill your compliance with IGIF as an example. We've also worth highlighting, we've also been heavily engaged in Inspire standards, where we were the main architect of the European standards for interoperability within EU. And also when it comes to ISO development, ISO 19158, which we as Ordnance Survey are the originator for, that is related to map quality assurance. So in summary, effective use of geospatial data can not only help governments improve the quality of services they deliver to the public, but also deliver them at lower cost. I've covered a few examples from around the world of how geospatial data can help governments do this in a number of ways, from saving fuel and time through better routing, to linking national registers, to improved resource availability, to saving lives by improving response times of emergency services. Geospatial data can help governments enhance their efficiency. With that, thank you very much for listening, and I'd like to hand over back to my colleague Craig.
I just wanted to mention that we've got a new mini report available with a lot of the case studies that we mentioned here. So let's start with our first question. So Peter, you've talked a lot about the efficiencies that governments can make by using location data. Are there any studies that report how much potential economic value geospatial data can provide?
Yeah, that's a good question. Thank you. Yes, of course there are. Top of my head, the webinar back in July, we talked about some of these studies. So everyone, please go back and check that webinar out. Here in the UK, as an example, we have a study by Boston Consulting Group that stated that there is a potential additional 6 to 11 billion pounds to the economy from the private sector alone. And this tremendous value cover property or land, so geospatial data used to support e-conveyance, provide greater value, transparency, and so on. That's one aspect. Another one is around infrastructure and construction. So geospatial data used to support optimal route locations, the new pipelines, generators of power lines, signal towers, and all that critical infrastructure. The third one is around mobility, so route optimization, just using geospatial data as such. The fourth area is around natural resources, so using geospatial data to support farming, automating farming equipment, precision agriculture, autonomous mining, those important aspects. And then the fifth aspect is around sales and marketing, so better geospatial data for location-based advertising, which is a massive industry in itself. And of course, the return on the investment, the ROI figure I mentioned at the beginning of this webinar, geospatial data is a high-packed investment in a nation's long-term economic health, which benefits 3.2 times larger than the cost itself. So I hope that answers the question.
So we've got one more that's come in. Very informative webinar, thank you. You've not mentioned climate change. How can geospatial help in the fight against that?
Yeah, another great question, and also thank you. I'm glad you found the webinar useful, so far at least. We could spend, I don't know, an entire webinar at least on this highly relevant topic. To me, geospatial can help in a number of ways. Firstly, for example, to map the damage caused by man-made climate change and the accumulation of human waste products, for example. From there, with some machine learning, you can then, for example, predict the risks they possess, providing insight into how to prevent situations worsening. We can use remote sensing, including information from satellite observation, of course, which then enables better measurements of the changing climates and environments. Geospatial information is also critical for monitoring change and planning and delivering mitigation strategies. This is particularly important for small island nations and other countries that is impacted by rising sea levels, climate change, and associated disasters as such. So I do know that you can get a lot of great free Earth observation data available in the Open Data Cube, it's called, which uses open data from NASA, satellite Earth observation, and this to help visualize how land has changed over the past, I think it's 30 years. So definitely something I recommend you to look further into and such. I hope that answers the question.
That's great. Thank you very much, Peter. Our next webinar is going to be on the 5th of November, and we'll be looking at how nations can unlock their full potential using geospatial information. So keep an eye out for the details on your emails or on social media. Thank you again, Peter, for a really useful presentation, and to everyone for listening in and sending in your questions. Keep safe and well and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.